All right, moving on. So, romantic poetry. So we have Americans. We have Emily Dickinson, Edgar Allan Poe, Ralph Waldo Emerson, and Walt Whitman. And then our English poet that we're going to talk about is William Wordsworth. Great name for a poet, right? So Dickinson, I'm sure you've talked about most of these people in your English classes, so we're just going to do a quick overview of them. She often utilizes themes of nature, life, and death in her poetry. Super romantic themes, right? Her most famous poems are Narrow Fellow in the Grass, I Heard a Fly Buzz, and Because I Could Not Stop for Death. Just based on these titles alone, why do you think they're romantic? Talk about nature, right? And then we have this beautiful photograph of her. All right, here is Narrow Fellow in the Grass. I'm going to read it out loud to you. She goes, a narrow fellow in the grass occasionally rides. You may have met him, did you not? His notice sudden is, the grass divides as with a comb, a spotted shaft is seen, and then it closes at your feet and opens further on. He likes a boggy acre, a floor too cool for corn, but when a boy and barefoot I more than once at noon have passed, I thought a whiplash, unbraiding in the sun. When stooping to secure it, it wrinkled and was gone. Several of nature's people I know, and they know me. I feel for them a transport of cordiality, but never met this fellow, attended or alone, without a tighter breathing and zero at the bone. So we are finding the sublime in nature, finding beauty in these little moments. So where do you think a narrow fellow in the grass is? Snake. I heard a fly buzz, next poem. I heard a fly buzz when I died. The stillness in the room was like the stillness in the air between the heaves of storm. The eyes around had wrung them dry, and breaths were gathering firm for that last onset when the king be witnessed in the room. I willed my keepsakes signed away, what portions of me be assignable, and then it was there interposed a fly, with blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz between the light and me, and then the windows failed, and then I could not see to see. All right, so let's talk about this. This poem is a first romantic poem in style because the subject includes a reference to, what do you think? We'll come back and check your answers here in a second. And then what is being described by the poet in the scene? And the two lines, number 3, the eyes around had wrung them dry and breaths were gathering firm, indicates what? So let's see. First, we have nature and death. Always going to be romantic if we're talking about nature and death. What's being described by the poet in the scene? She's dying. She is talking from the perspective of a dying person. Those two lines, people that gathered by the bed had cried and then were nervously awaiting her death. I don't know where those last two questions went. Let's get those. All right. William Wordsworth, English romantic poet who utilized many concrete examples of the sublime in nature in his works. He describes what is known as an aesthetic experience. It is a transcendental moment of awareness with heightened emotion and sensory experience. So here's his poem, I Wandered Lonely as a Cloud. So again, we have emotions in the title, we have nature with the cloud in the title, all of those are romantic themes. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, beside the lake, beneath the trees, fluttering and dancing in the breeze. Continuous as the stars that shine and twinkle on the Milky Way, they stretched in never-ending line along the margin of a bay. 10,000 saw I at a glance, tossing their heads in sprightly dance. The waves beside them danced, but they outdid the sparkling waves in glee. A poet could not but be gay. In such a jocund company, I gazed and gazed, but little thought what wealth the show to me had brought. Far oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or pensive mood, they flash upon that inward eye, which is the bliss of solitude. And then my heart with pleasure fills and dances with the daffodils. So again, we are finding the sublime, the beauty in small moments of nature. So now what you are going to do is write your own romantic poem using these themes that we've seen. So you can be talking about sublime, death, and nature. The only requirements that you have those three subjects, sublime, of nature, and death. And then it's at least 20 lines with 100 words total. So you want about 5 words a line. So some lines can be like 6 or 7, some lines can be 3 or 4, as long as you get to that 100 word total by the time you're done.